Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you've received this video, someone really cares about you. And they're hoping that through our testimonies that you might be able to relate to something we're saying, or you might be able to see how Plexus products could possibly improve your health and happiness. So we're so excited you're here. I'm Rhonda Shaw, Diamond Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. I've been an ambassador now for 3 years. But it wasn't the business that got me into Plexus, it was the products. I had said I would never, ever, 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 ever do this, but the products are pretty life-changing. About 20 years ago now, I was diagnosed with a condition where I felt intense discomfort all over my entire body. I was very tired all the time, and I was only 20 years old. So it really scared me why I didn't feel well and why I didn't feel like myself. All through my childhood and teen years, I had constant tummy troubles. My parents put me on medication when I was in the first grade to help with my stomach. The doctors said that it was nerves and anxiety. But I knew in my teen years something was really wrong with me. There was a lot of foods I had to avoid completely. And there was a lot of times that my whole life was dictated by what my stomach said we were going to do for the day. And so when I was diagnosed with this condition at 20, I was pretty sad. And so was my brand new husband, who thought that he was marrying this young, vibrant nursing student. I spent a lot of time in bed. There was a lot of stress, and I was trying to graduate from nursing school. It was such a difficult time in my life. Well, I started researching alternative medicine when traditional medicine failed me. All the medications they'd thrown at me just were not making a difference. I started learning that there's so much more to the body than just taking a pill to fix a symptom. And I learned that most of it starts in the gut. When I heard that, a huge veil was lifted for me. I was like, oh my gosh. My stomach has bothered me since I was a child, a young child, and it has continued to escalate and get worse and worse and worse. And now I have a condition that's affecting my entire immune system. All the pieces of the puzzle started to fit, and I knew that to get healthy, I was going to have to fix my gut. Well, that wasn't an easy thing to do at that time. You're talking 15 years ago. There wasn't any medical research out there on the gut that I could find, and there wasn't any doctor that was willing to acknowledge what I was saying. They all rolled their eyes and they all thought I was crazy, except for a few. I researched and finally found a doctor in Houston who supported what I was asking and gave me such wise advice. I was able to find some products that I could start taking that would contribute to better gut health. I started changing my diet, the way I lived, the way I exercised, all the things I put in my house, the chemicals. I guess you could say I became really crunchy. But I ended up with 5 kids. And after 5 pregnancies, there's only so many supplements you can take and so many crunchy things you can do before it really wears on your body. And when I was in my 30s, my health really dramatically began to decline once again and spiral out of control. I bought Plexus to help my husband, but instead it helped me. And I think it is because at Plexus, they focus on the root cause of what most of us are suffering with: blood sugar, inflammation, and gut disturbances. When I started taking a combination of these powerful products, my health started going the best direction. I had felt like I was no longer a mom to my 5 kids. I was just somebody who they came and kissed in the bed and brought medications to, and always had to say, don't bother mom, she doesn't feel good. Now I'm a mom again. I literally have my life back because of Plexus. All the science is there. It's been there all along. They are just on the cutting edge of taking us fast forward into the future of what we can do, what our bodies can do, and what they were designed to do when given the right materials to use. So I hope you'll just listen just a few more testimonies and see how this was my condition, but wait till you hear these stories coming up. I want to introduce you to my friend Sabrina. She's pretty amazing, pretty awesome, and she has a really powerful testimony. Take it away, Sabrina. Hey everyone, super excited to jump on here and share with you guys. I don't know if anyone else on here started out as a skeptic, but I was a major skeptic. And when my family came to me about plexus, I wanted nothing to do with it. I had tried pretty much every supplement out on the market and nothing had worked for me. I was spending $600 a month prior, before starting plexus, on a supplement that my chiropractor recommended to me. And at that point, I was just burnt out. I was doing all of the right things for my health. I'm 28 years old now, and I've been doing plexus for right about 3 years. Growing up as a child, I lived my life sick. I joke about it now to say that I used to eat antibiotics for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it was not a joke. My family came to me and said, Sabrina, you need to try plexus. You are a wreck and your health is getting worse and worse and worse. At that time, I'd been diagnosed with a condition to where my blood sugar would crash throughout the day if I didn't basically eat every hour on the hour to regulate my blood sugar. It would crash and then I would pass out if I missed a meal or if I missed a snack. So they came to me and they said, look, you don't want to go back to the doctor and get put on the stuff the doctor wants to put you on. You need to try this stuff. Like, try it. You're back to the 60-day money back guarantee. What have you got to lose? 3 months after telling my family no way and being mean to them about their pink drink, I finally gave in and tried it. I'm happy to say that my blood sugar is regulated now and I feel amazing, and I have not passed out in 3 years. You guys, that alone is life-changing. Backing up to the part where I said I lived my life sick growing up, I was diagnosed with another condition to where they told me I was going to live my life sick. Like, that was going to be my way of life. The doctors did not have answers for me besides, here, let's put you on another antibiotic, because when you get sick with this condition and you are young and your health is basically going to allow other stuff to come in because my immune system was at its very lowest. I used to manage a mechanic in an ag shop, and I loved my lunch break from 12 to 1, not because I got to eat, but because I was able to go lay down on the couch in the office and sleep for 50 minutes and then wake up and eat my food in 10 minutes. And I would do that. And I would get home at nighttime and I would go to sleep and I would be passed out on my couch at 7 o'clock at night. And I did that every single day. Like, that was my life. I was tired all the time. And if I stayed up late one night or if I went out with friends, I knew that I was going to get sick and pay for it. And that was the way I lived my life, missing every holiday with my family because I was sick in bed. And that was not my way of life. I finally went to my doctors and I said, look, there must be something different. Like, I've lived my life on antibiotics. I'm researching gut health now. Don't you think I need a probiotic? And they told me, oh, that's probably a good idea. I went to the health food store and I bought the very most expensive probiotic that I could buy. So when I started plexus and we had our Probio 5, I wanted nothing to do with it because it was cheap, in my opinion, and cheap means it doesn't work. I was very wrong. My probiotic snob went out the door, and I am a huge believer in all of our products. Since starting plexus, in 3 years, you guys, I have not had my major health conditions that I used to have to where I would get sick and I would be down for a week. I've got a couple colds, but I can deal with that. That was very simple for me. I used to deal with seasonal issues pretty much throughout the year to where my eyes would swell up. I would sneeze 24/7, and I had severe breathing conditions to where the doctor's answer for me was to move out. I live in California where air quality is not great, and the doctor's answer was to move out of the valley to get out of our bad air conditions, which is just very easy, right, for everyone to pack up and move. So I'm happy to say that I no longer deal with those issues. I'm off 2 different inhalers and 2 different allergy pills that they had put me on to regulate those issues. I dealt with severe headaches to where I would go into the bedroom, lock myself in there, put ice packs on my head, and make the room dark to be able to not have to deal with life. That was my escape route, to try to avoid everything that I came into contact with. Those are completely gone. I no longer deal with issues that was related to blood sugar issues where I felt like I had bugs crawling up my legs all the time. It was going throughout my body.
and I dealt with that. So that is completely gone. Plexus has been the most amazing thing I've ever brought into my life outside of God to change my life. And I have my health back. And I'm happy to say at 28 years old, I actually feel good. And that has been such a blessing. So I hope my story was able to help open up your eyes that there is hope out there, y'all. There's so much hope out there. And don't be closed-minded like I was for 3 months. If your friend is preaching this to you, listen to them. They care about you. I am super excited to hear from Julie. Julie, take it away. I'm sure your story is absolutely amazing.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. So I just have a question for you. What does it take for you to take your health seriously? I'm going to tell you what it took for me. It took for me at the age of 30, and I'm going to try not to cry as I tell this story. It took for me at the age of 30 in the hospital, sitting across from a doctor, telling you when you have 3 young kids that you're homeschooling, and a husband that you love and adore, and a ministry that you're just so thankful to be a part of, when you sit across from a doctor and he tells you that there's not really anything they can really do to help the condition that you've been diagnosed with, and that by the time you're 40 to 50 years old, you're probably going to have part of your colon removed, and that your quality of life is pretty much as good as it's ever going to get. That's when things changed for me. I'd always been somebody who was really worried, honestly, about the outside, because I always was between 50 to 70 pounds overweight my entire life, had always dealt with intestinal issues my entire life. And that was a wake-up call for me. And I knew that I had to get my health in order. So I really started focusing and started doing all of these right things. Fitness was a huge part of my life. I started heavy lifting in the gym, which I absolutely love and still do. Loved it. Was taking supplements, going and, any advice I could get from any person to say, what should I do? What should I take in order to fill these nutritional gaps? Because I wanted to be off of this medication that made me feel horrible. I'd already had severe head pain, the kind where you want to go in your room, cut out the lights, like Sabrina was talking about. Since I was 3 years old, I was already dealing with that. This medication just made all of that worse. And the disease that he diagnosed me with, I have open ulcers that form in my large intestines. So as you can imagine, pain was not a question, would I be in pain daily? It was what level of pain. Pain was my normal. So I was desperate to do anything to live a life where I could engage with my children, where I didn't have to hide the pain, where I didn't have to schedule my day around what my body was telling me was how our day was going to be. And so I was trying to do all of the right things. And if you looked from the outside in, it looked like I was doing all of those right things. I lost a lot of weight. I had a healthy lifestyle, but still in January of 2015, 8 years after my initial diagnosis, after many flares through that time and many stints of just being sidelined with pain, I found myself in a full flare. And I was desperate because here I was doing all of these things that everyone said are the right things to do, yet still I was completely sidelined with pain. I was on so much pain medication. Literally, I lived my days in the bed and was doing my best to be able to engage in life with my 3 kids and with our ministry. And I just began praying for an answer. And I had a sweet friend reach out to me about Plexus. Now, I will also say at the time I was even coaching at the gym where I was, and I was a huge supplement snob. I didn't think there was anything that anybody else had to offer me that I had not already tried or that could actually affect any change in my body. But I also was at a place where I said, what if this is the thing? What if this is the last thing I have to take? What if this is the one thing that could change everything? And so I started the products, and within 4 days, I was off of my pain medication. That in itself was huge, because then I was able to actually engage in life and be a part of the life that was happening all around me. And then in 2 weeks, I was completely out of that flare up. Now, listen, it normally took me 2 months to get back to a base level of pain, because as you can imagine, when you have open ulcers forming inside your large intestines, you don't want anything in your body. So my body was nutritionally depleted. I felt horrible. So in 2 weeks to be back in the gym, whereas normally it would take me 2 months, it was astounding to me. So I stayed on the products, continually saw improvements. But in the summertime, I do like many of us do, and maybe you're even having these thoughts right now. Yeah, they're talking about this, but can I even afford it? And we are one income minister salary, and we were going on a mission trip. And I said, you know what? I'm just not going to purchase the products this month. And this was what God used to really show me that this was not a fluke, that these products worked. Within about 3 weeks of being off of the products, I was back into my body in full inflammation and in a flare. And my mom actually said to me, you have to get back on these products. I don't even know what they are, but we saw the change in your health. Get back on these products. I did. And it was the exact same thing. I was quickly off of my pain medication. And in 2 weeks, I was completely out of that flare up. And that's when I knew that this was the thing that was changing everything. In this time that I've been on these products, my health has continued to improve. And since that last flare, I've not had one time where I've had to take any pain medication, where I've had to take any of the medication. I'm completely off of the prescribed medication that my gastroenterologist gave me. And I'm not having to take any of the medication that I had consistently been on since the time I was a teenager for the severe head issues that I had, the head pain that I would have. I had issues where the acid from my stomach would cause problems in my throat. I'm also a worship leader, so it was affecting the way that I led worship. It was affecting the way that I was able to serve, and I was on medication for that. I'm no longer on any of that medication. This has been the steps. This has been what God has used to bring about the health that I was hoping for, that I was longing for, that I was desperate for. So I know that you're listening to this and you are longing for help that you feel like is so far out of your reach. But I want you to hear me say that this could be the thing. This could be the thing that is the last thing that you have to take. I think so many times, what if I had not just tried? What if I had not just gotten over myself, gotten over all the things that I thought I knew, and give this a try when it's absolutely risk-free? Because for me, I was looking for a way daily to escape the pain, to escape life. And now I'm in a place where I am looking for ways to more fully engage in life. Don't be the person looking to escape it. Be the person who has so much energy, who has the hope of health, and you can engage in the life that God calls you to live. I am so excited for you, because if you are listening to these testimonies, that means you are this close. You are this close to finding the health that you are longing for, the health that caused you to click this link and watch this today. Listen, we are just normal people, and this is our real story of what we walked through. And I am so thankful that I got over myself and that I gave this a try, because I'm telling you, it has been an absolute life changer and game changer for me, for my health, and most importantly, for my family and for my future. Because I don't worry about tomorrow, because I know that I'm doing something today to affect my tomorrow's health. And you can do that too. So I hope that you take these things to heart and you really give this a try, because it could be the one thing that changes everything. So I want to introduce to you my friend Tiari. She has an amazing testimony that she's going to share with you. Tiari, take it away.
Thank you, Julie. That was amazing. I am one of the few in this amazing group of women that didn't really have any health problems. I was your typical, gym goer and clean eater. I thought supplements were cheating, and, just really led a very healthy lifestyle from the inside out. Everybody thought Tiara's got it together. And then when I was pregnant with my first child, I had a medical condition strike me suddenly at about 27 weeks. And it's basically categorized by major organ failure because you're pregnant. And the only cure is, I'm going to be like Julie and get a little emotional. The only cure is the delivery of the baby. And so I was forced to deliver my son at 28 weeks. It was awful. And so when he just turned 3, he's fine. And I recovered fairly quickly after the delivery. But nonetheless, when you've lived a healthy life and you had a seemingly normal pregnancy, and I think we've all been there when it's been either yourself or someone that you love, and you've had a very life-changing event. And in my case, when the doctor had said to me, days before the C-section, because my son was too small to put through the birth canal, you might want to have some people come visit you. And you get through that, you are encouraged to figure out, what does your total health outlook look like? What is it? It's more than just eating clean. It's more than just exercising. So once we got in a rhythm and we all got our health back, I was recommended these products by a good friend, and I resumed my skepticism just because I saw amazing stories like all these women, and I thought, well, I've always been healthy. That was just a fluke thing. But then I was reminded of the fact that I would not turn away anything that may better contribute to my overall portrait of health. And I cannot even tell you what a difference it made. So I started the products, and I had it approved by 3 different physicians, unaffiliated. And I took it through the pregnancy of my second little boy. And it's quite a difference to only carry to 28 weeks all the way to 39 and a half weeks, a beautiful big baby boy. And the difference just was astounding in pregnancy. I had no muscle cramps, slow and steady weight gain. The weight was distributed all to my stomach, which is fantastic. I had healthy cravings for food and actual aversion to sugar, total opposite from most pregnancies in my previous one. I had incredible energy, which was also unheard of. I got by with 1 cup of coffee a day, if that. And I'm going there. When you have a C-section and then you have a bowel movement the same day and everybody else is walking the halls with stool softeners, you feel pretty darn good that you have your Plexus products under your belt. The stuff is incredible for digestive health and just your overall portrait of health. It also was really beneficial for my little boy as far as milk production and stooling in him and his digestive system. He is just the healthiest, most beautiful thing. And I am actually 14 weeks pregnant now with my third. And so gratitude is the only thing to describe that I have these arsenal of amazing products with all kinds of natural ingredients. You've got magnesium, vitamin C, chromium to balance blood sugar and regulate cholesterol and blood pressure, probiotics, digestive enzymes. These are all things that I don't care how organically you shop or how often you cook your own food from scratch, whatnot. You can't get a lot of this from just a lifestyle alone. So same as Julie posed a question about wanting to be healthy and drop your skepticism, a lot of people in my circle, including myself, would ask the question of, could I function just fine without Plexus? Could I live a life without Plexus and be fine? Well, maybe, but at the same time, what if you asked yourself, how healthy could I possibly be, or what could these do for an already healthy person? And I encourage you to try it. I'm so glad that I listened to my friend after about 3 or 4 months. That seems to be the trend. And I'm just grateful because it's not only helped me, it's helped me create new lives and beautiful ones at that. So I am going to pass it back to Rhonda. And again, please consider whoever sent this to you, they're doing it out of love and out of care, and they know what they're talking about. So take it away, Rhonda.
Wow, guys. Julie, I have never even heard your testimony, or Tiari, I've never heard yours. I love that this is my job, that I get to hear all these amazing life-changing testimonies every day. And I think all of us here can agree on a general consensus that having chronic conditions or Tiara, like you, just living in fear of, well, what happens next when I have another baby, but living just with something chronic, it brings this darkness over your life. And I tell people that I was living my life in black and white. It was going through the motions. It was trying to survive. It was like what Julie described with, just not being able to be a mom and function in ministry and all these things that she wanted to be, and Sabrina needing to sleep all the time and wanting to sleep your life away. You get to the point where, people are saying, how are you feeling? And you just don't even want to answer. How do you answer? How do you answer someone, how are you feeling, when it hasn't changed from the day before or the day before that or the day before that or the year before that? And I remember saying, there aren't enough words to describe how tired I am. Exhausted doesn't begin to touch the depths of how tired I feel. And saying I'm hurting doesn't begin to describe the depths of pain that my body feels continually day in and day out. And so I feel like there's so many silent sufferers walking around in a daze, fog over you. Your life is black and white. You're discouraged. You're feeling like there is nowhere to go with this. All the doctors just keep handing me more things. And I am not knocking physicians because I used to work for them and I love them dearly, and I'm a nurse, and I believe and am thankful for the medications that literally can save our lives. But there is an epidemic in our country right now where there has not been a focus on the core functions of the human body, specifically the human microbiome of all the bugs that live in your body and require food and require assistance to make you function properly. And so many of the things we live with are just a natural dysfunction of our body. And they don't need another pill. And they don't need more exercise. And they don't need more healthy food, even though all those things are fabulous. They need some things that our diets cannot provide. And so that is where supplementation comes in, and why it is so important, and why it's changing so many people's life. So I love, Julie, how you said it. What if this is the last thing I ever have to try? And we are 4 people here to tell you that for us, it was the last thing we ever had to try. And then the beautiful thing about our company is that they're not stopping. They recognize that there's so much more complexity to the body that we begin to just scratch the surface. So I feel that I can trust my health in a company that's looking forward and knowing that they're always going to continue to provide us with the latest cutting edge research and science and supplementation that our bodies need. And that is very encouraging to me. I wanted to say in the beginning that we are independent ambassadors. And we want you to know that the results you're hearing, that they vary from person to person. And we are not claiming that we are curing or treating or preventing any disease. We're simply sharing our stories and our personal journeys with Plexus, and just saying how effective supplementation can be at helping you feel a lot better, especially getting your gut in check. So before we go, really quickly, show of hands from you ladies, so that we don't leave the audience thinking that this is only for women. How many of you have men in your life that have just as incredible Plexus testimonies as ours? Amen. Really quickly, for my husband, he didn't believe in this at all. I mean, if there was a skeptic, he was the biggest. Men in general feel pretty good. I mean, I do know men that are really sick and suffer with a lot of diseases, but when guys are young, I mean, God made them pretty amazing. I mean, they just kind of like, nope, don't have a headache. Nope, don't hurt. Sleep great. Sleep like a rock. I mean, that was kind of my husband. But guess what? Just because you might feel okay doesn't mean you are okay. And when he went to the doctor for his checkup, he learned really quick he wasn't okay. And that lifetimes of just eating however you want to and doing whatever you want to has payback. So here he was approaching his 40s and going down the traditional route of what they have usually 2 to 3 typical prescriptions that men have to start when they're 40 to control some things. And that's the path he was going down. And it really was a wake-up call for him and scared him. And as skeptical as he was, I was the loving, bossy wife and said, you're drinking this, you're taking this, you just do what I say. He doesn't listen to anything else, but he will listen to that. So he took his supplements faithfully. And at 6 months, he went and visited his doctor again, and they were shocked by his results and just were so encouraged and said, well, whatever you're doing a great job. Keep it up. You look healthy. We'll see you next year. So guys, if you're listening to this, if you survived listening to 4 women share their very emotional testimonies, I want you to say Plexus is for you too. And you can find a lot more of that at plexusworldwide.com. And we hope you'll visit and check out all the stories of all the men and all the women who've had great success at Plexus. So to health and happiness. Bye, everybody.